Hi, family. How are you? I hope all is well. I am joining you again. It is, of course, African Osorenko that I am joining you today for another story, family. That is really ridiculous. Okay, so I'm gonna go into this, and uh, we can chop it up in the comments. Okay. So, family, this story is pertaining to a black man, a New Jersey black man, um, who's a father of, I believe, three children, two or three children, married, pregnant wife, who attempted to try and protect his family from being attacked by a rabid white supremacist. So, let me get into the story. And this is by News One that I'm reading this from, family. Uh, News One news article I'm going to read this from, okay? Just 1 second. And I do want to just do the copyright disclaimer, just in case. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for the fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, scholarship, and research. All right, family. So now let's get back right over here. All right, so here we go. New Jersey black man sentenced to 3 years in prison for fatally punching racist who called him the N word. Anthony Collins' attorney argued that his client was defending himself and his family from a rabid racist who had a history of racially harassing the black family, including Collins's young children. Okay? A New Jersey man will spend at least 2.5 years to 2.5 to 3 years behind bars after fatally punching a racist white man who called him the N word after assaulting his pregnant wife with his bicycle, which happened after the white man had allegedly been harassing the family for months. Now, family, understand that this is been documented. So the police have been called out, and police reports have been made against the person. Anthony Collins, who is 41, was sentenced Thursday to 3 years in state prison and will be eligible for parole after serving 2 years and 6 months. Okay. As a part of a plea agreement, Collins pleaded guilty to manslaughter on June 10th. The incident occurred on September 18th, 2023, in Seaside Heights. And I am not sure about Seaside Heights. I've never heard of it. This is the first time. But I have been to New Jersey, and I know it's a very diverse neighborhood. They have very diverse neighborhoods. It says uh, after the victim, the incident occurred on September 18th, 2023, in Seaside Heights. After the victim, if one insists on calling him that, he wasn't a victim. He was the perpetrator. After the perpetrator, 70-year-old Robert May slammed his bike into Collins' pregnant wife with his bicycle and then turned around and him called Collins the N-word. Collins then punched May in the face one time, causing the septuagenarian, I don't know what that is, septuagenarian, to fall from his bike and strike his head on a curb, rendering him unconscious. Okay. So he only hit the man one time. The man hit the woman with the bike, the pregnant woman, you know, and he hit the man one time. Okay. So it further reads, Collins' attorney, Terrence Turnback, argued in October that his client was defending himself and his family from a rabid racist who had a history of racially harassing black families, include many black families, including Collins's children, who turned back said were called racial slurs at least 10 times a day by the perpetrator. So this man is allowed, this senior, okay, this senior citizen, this rabid dog senior citizen, racist, race supremacist, white supremacist, okay, who had probably spent all 70 years being a white supremacist, racist, rabid dog, was allowed to terrorize this family. Okay. I'm sorry, fam. I needed some light. He was allowed to terrorize this family, you know, for well, terrorized not only this family, but this family and other families for years. This family for almost a year or more. And yet there's no recourse, that nobody can do anything. And I'm sure they called the police because there were police reports. That's what my client was doing that day, dealing with an individual he was well aware of from the standpoint that he had called his children the N word over 11 to 12 occasions. Turnback argued before State Superior Court Judge Guy P. Ryan. This is the judge that made the decision to send this man to prison for protecting his family, his pregnant wife, and little children that had been called the N word by this beast, this perpetrator. Okay. Okay, it says the attorney further argued that he should have a right to defend his wife and himself and his children. The alleged perpetrator was looking for the client, was looking for the attorney's client. So he was looking for Mr. Collins. So when he couldn't find Mr. Collins, he saw the wife, the pregnant wife, outside, and called her a name. And then that's when he ran up and ran and hit her, ran into her with the bike and into her stomach, family. Okay. Well, what was he trying to do, family? We already know what this beast was trying to do. We already know. Okay. The judge countered that Collins should have reported the harassment at this latest incident instead of choosing to strike someone, causing serious bodily injury resulting in death. Now, there are a lot of it goes further to read, there are a lot of mostly Caucasian people who would be inclined to agree with the judge that he should have simply just called the police once again. However, they didn't have to live next door to him, okay? They didn't have to live next door to him. And had he been attacking their family, I'm sure they would have been allowed to protect themselves, okay? So that we know. Okay, but what they want to say is black people cannot protect themselves. Okay, so the perpetrator also, once getting to the hospital and coming to, refused medical attention that could have saved his life. So he refused medical attention that could have saved his life, and they're blaming this black man for hitting him. It wasn't that killed him. It was his refusal, to accept the medical care. He was treated at the scene once he, came to. He was treated at the scene, but refused additional medical assistance. And he just went home. And I guess the next day or so, he died. So they're holding this black man. Between that day and the day he passed away, there could have been several things that occurred, that made this man pass on to the upper room. I mean, seriously, it was not, it could not have been, or may not have been, this man's punch. So, family, we are living in a system that believes that Black people should be meek and mild mannered and receptive to abuse, and allow others to trample on us and abuse us and mistreat us and spit on us and, all kinds of things. As you can see, what's going on right now in the UK. We are living in a white supremacist system that thinks if you protect yourself, the right given to anyone, okay? But if you protect yourself against a white supremacist as a black person in America, that you should be put down and put away. And I do not believe in the, I don't, never have. I do not believe in Martin Luther King's Jr.'s, belief as far as turning the other cheek. I believe Black people have turned the other cheek for over 400 years. I believe now Black people are tired of turning the other cheek. And you're meeting a new group of Black people who are who who demand to protect themselves. They demand to have the right to be able to protect themselves the same way anybody else would be able to protect themselves. Family, if this had been a 70-year-old Black man harassing a white man and his family and ran into a white pregnant woman's stomach and called his three little white children racial slurs, and I can think of a few, would the circumstances have turned out exactly the way that they did for this man? I don't think so, because we are living in a system that allows white supremacy. We're living in a system that allow white supremacists to be violent towards black, individuals, with no recourse, and they can get away with it, and we shouldn't do anything about it, and we shouldn't talk about it, and we should be quiet and shut up and just take the abuse. We're living in that kind of system, unfortunately, and so we have to really think about this, family, when we have to just think about this when we are uh, you know going through this system. But I will say that I do believe in the great Malcolm X belief: an eye for an eye, period. You take my eye, I'll take your eye as well. That is what I believe in. It comes a time, family, where Black people have to start protecting themselves. We have to. I was looking at, a couple of videos in the UK, and how the Black people predominantly were hiding out in their homes and stuff because they were deathly in fear. The Muslim community came out to fight back. The Muslim community came out to fight back. They wasn't worried about it. They wasn't going for it. It's time for the Black community to wake from its slumber. You are no longer slaves. Stop behaving as though we cannot protect ourselves and we cannot protect our children. What does that show your children as a man when they're being attacked, okay, by an adult white male, and you stand around and do nothing? Now, the name calling, that was one thing, because he's an idiot. But once you become violent and putting hands or taking objects, dangerous objects, because a bike, you riding a bike is a dangerous object for you to run into someone, especially a well pregnated woman. It's disgusting. You know, I'm not going to say rest in peace to the perpetrator because sometimes our actions will bring us to certain consequences, and it is what it is. But I would just say, family, pay attention. We are, uh, this goes back to politicians and who we're voting for. We are voting for people and putting them in office that have no regard for us. You see, if the Democrats, when they gave the Asians a hate crime bill, had added blacks onto that hate crime bill, or had even given blacks a hate crime bill, since FBI statistics cite that black Americans or black people in America are attacked more than any other group, racial ethnic group in America based off of their ethnicity. It's a fact. So maybe a lot of these racists that are coming out, these white supremacists that are coming out and attacking black people, maybe they would think twice if there was a law that protected you. However, the Republicans do not want to protect you, and neither does the Democrats. Neither party wants to protect Black America. So we continue to be chased down, murdered, murdered by police, murdered by uh, other white supremacists in the street, murdered by other communities that are also participating in white supremacy. Yet Asians and the LGBTQ group have a hate crime bill. I'm just going to say, I'm going to end it like this: make it make sense. And make your vote count, people. Voting for the wrong person or the wrong party or the wrong individual that gives you nothing, voting for nothing is like not voting. I heard Dr. Umar say that. It's very true. Voting for nothing is like not voting at all. So voting for no tangibles, you might as well stay at home and don't cast a vote. All right, family. I thank you so much for joining me. I hope you come again. Remember, African Osoran Co. I'm here a couple of times a week. I will have another channel coming out. I'll let you guys know in the near future. And please like, share, and subscribe. And I thank you so much for all of your views and comments. Have a blessed one. Bye bye.